Hello!
Hi!
Sup, everybody?
Welcome to another episode of the Right Stuff Anime Podcast!
Woo!
Yay!
There, that's my hello.
Well, we should go ahead and introduce our names. I'm Will. I'm a social media coordinator.
My name is Devlin, and I'm also a social media coordinator.
I'm Chris. I'm a merchandising coordinator.
Hi, I'm Olivia. I run the podcast, kind of, not really, but I'm going to say it now just for the sake of saying it, so I have the title.
That was a long title.
Taking control.
I'm an isekai.
Yes, I'm an isekai. It'd be whisked away. I'm Quinn. I'm a merchandising coordinator. And that was the end of the intros.
I was about to say, we
Great
paused
job.
there, like, and sixth person was going to chime in. Like, are they under the table?
Sorry, my other personality is going to come out.
Yeah.
Murderous one.
And a ghost coon.
Hi, I'm Evil Devlin. And I also have a social media coordinator position.
Regular Devlin already has facial hair. How do we know you're the evil one?
You don't.
His hair's going to
God.
swoop to the other side.
Yes. Mirror Devil.
And today we'll be wanting to talk about the Simulcast as well as reveal the winner of last time's Dub Massacre.
Woo!
Ooh.
That was fun.
Yeah. But first, let's talk about the news.
All right, first up, Olivia, you want to talk about this. Clamp has a deal with Netflix and Wit Studio.
Yeah, so I saw this on ANN a couple of days ago, and there's not a whole lot of info about it yet. I think there's mostly just a visual, but it's going to be Clamp doing an anime about like the Grimm's fairy tales, which feels like right up their alley.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And I'm really excited to see just what they're going to do with it. But like I said, there's not a whole lot of info on it yet, but I want it. I want it now.
I'm curious to know how long their arms and legs will be in this because Holic and
Tsubasa?
Yeah, Tsubasa. They got some ridiculous length going on there.
We have Jack and the Beanstalk, but it's just a person named Jack with really noodly arms. He is the Beanstalk. I mean, in the visual, they looked like semi-plausible anime people.
Yeah, they did.
No anime people, because anime people are not semi-plausible looking people usually. You know, giant eyes the size of like manhole covers.
Eye the size of your head.
We've seen Clannad.
But also, yeah, Wit Studios behind this. They've done a lot of good work with stuff like Attack on Titan and Vinland Saga.
Yeah, and they were the ones that were doing the Kickstarter of The Girl from the Other Side, too.
Yeah. And they do Ancient Magus' Bride.
Yeah, they
so
do a lot.
They have a history of fantasy.
And also making stuff that looks good.
Yes. Very
That
pretty.
is a big thing. And Clamp with their signature art style, I think putting those two together is going to make something real pretty. Quinn, you want to talk about Tanya the Evil Season 2?
Yes, it's getting a second season of Chaos and Destruction. So, yeah, the whole show is about an isekai, which, honestly, it's so much different that you forget it's an isekai, just because Tanya, who is a young girl, is in charge of a military division that goes and raids things with magic, and even though the older guy who has been reincarnated as this little girl is, like, his personality is still there, but he's trying to get away from being X, because being X annoys him, so he's trying to do as much as possible to not fall into what being X has planned for him, and it's just great, and it makes me laugh, and it's not one of those shows that you're supposed to laugh at. It's not supposed to be funny, but it makes it so hard not to laugh when things blow up in Tanya's face.
Well, I mean, the voice acting for the main characters is absolutely crazy.
Oh, yeah. So I'm looking very much forward to the continuation of the story and seeing what chaos erupts.
I still need to finish the first light novel. I think I'm in chapter 1. I've turned one page.
Gotta wait for the other one.
Yeah, you really get to work on that.
Yeah, there are 9 of them?
Yeah,
At least
I think
7?
9 or 11. I can't
Yeah.
remember. There's
They're getting up
a number there.
Way beyond 1, that's for sure.
Yes.
Way
past
beyond a page.
Yes.
Now I'm just imagining there's another Devlin that's been isekai to another reality where he finished the whole series.
Oh,
And he
snap.
left us evil Dublin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how we tell the two deaf ones apart.
Yeah, there we
One
go.
knows the plot,
One of them
Tanya.
knows the references.
What happens in Volume 8 of Tanya?
Someone dies.
Yeah, but the season's just been announced. It hasn't got like a release date or anything, so it's mostly just teases right now. But I'm still looking forward to it.
One thing that I thought was pretty interesting, people could finally catch up with those of us brave enough or vaccinated enough to go see Demon Slayer Mugen Train in the theater. It has already arrived on Funimation streaming.
Mm-hmm.
So-
Woohoo! I cannot avoid spoilers now.
Yep.
Yay!
I mean, you can go watch it now, so maybe after work,
Maybe.
pop in.
Yuck, yeah.
It's quite a treat, so...
Take a break from Genshin.
No.
Just no.
Just no.
She's a bit of a Genshin impacted addict, folks.
Slightly.
So you know.
Slightly. Slightly.
And then another streaming thing that I thought was pretty big to note on, Netflix. They announced that they have the rights to Gundam Hathaway, which we'll be talking about in a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
But to get people hyped up for that, to sort of build some storyline and background for that, they have put the 3 original Mobile Suit Gundam movies and Char's Counterattack on Netflix. So if you're looking for a quick, hard dose of the Universal Century's back history, you can get it real easy now.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly might need to check it out just because I've been needing to watch a little bit of Gundam, just a tad bit. So
Well, the movie trilogy is definitely the best gateway.
Yeah.
It's shorter than the original 43 episodes.
By a little bit.
yeah, I don't have enough time for that.
It cuts out a lot of filler, and Char's Counterattack is arguably the best movie that they've done, at least if you ask me.
I have seen that just scrolling through social media that Charles is like number 1. Like people love him and all of his many different forms.
Yep.
That's when the fighting robots go poof. The things blow up. The politics is intriguing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, all that's true.
Yes, I definitely wasn't.
This is why I'm sad nobody rode along with Dynazenon with me, because like it had all the cool giant robot stuff, but it also had like emotional teenage angst.
I had a lot of that already. So
I managed to keep up with, or get caught up with all of my previous Simulcast season stuff, so maybe I'll pick up Dynazenon at some point,
Yeah.
but...
Gridman first though.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
Yep.
Gridman is French Kiss.
Very
Yeah.
good.
French kiss?
A little Freudian slip.
Will wants to make out with a kaiju. You heard it here first, folks.
Oh.
We're not going to kink shame anybody, just it needs to be celebrated.
Send your fan art to rspodcast@rightstuff.com.
Maybe not. And now for another segue, let's talk about the Simulcast.
I think we can phrase it a little differently than that. Like, well, as I failed to do so.
alright. So with one simulcast ending, why don't we move on to the new one? Summer's coming, so what's
Summer's
coming
coming.
with
Summer
summer?
is coming. Summer
Summer's
is here.
You know,
The temperatures outside completely disagree with you.
I mean, the air conditioning in here completely disagrees with that. So.
I am not going to argue that fact. I am currently wearing a sweater.
I feel wonderful.
Of course.
All right, so without further ado, why don't we talk about some of the summer simulcasts that are premiering or going to be?
Yes, that we're all excited for, too.
All of them.
Every single one.
Pretty much.
For Quinn here, we all made a personal list of ones we were excited for, and Quinn had a long one.
I did.
I think that's just classic Quinn's MO right there.
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh, what 2 things are you looking for? Here's like the entire slate.
Yes.
Yeah, every show.
It gets whittled down as I try to watch things and can't fit it in my schedule. So the
That's-
priority shows show up and stay there, and the rest of them lag in my queue and are like, hey, you were in episode 3, come back.
But it's still like double digits for a long time, which is impressive.
Sure, I'll take that praise.
Yeah, it can be difficult to find shows in the simulcast that are going to take priority.
Mhm.
Like Wonder Egg,
Oh,
which has its final episode
Oh.
coming out in a few days.
soon.
What a great segue.
We will
Very proud.
definitely be making a podcast episode about that one.
Oh yeah, I'm excited to see what they do because I know it's going to be an hour,
Mhm.
but I am very skeptical of how much they can fit into an hour.
Or is it even going to be like half an hour recap and then
Oh,
the
God.
final
Oh, God,
episode?
we don't need another flashback.
I sincerely
Yeah.
hope not. I think that the hour special is to make up for the fact that they had to do a recap episode. At least that's what I'm hoping for.
That's what I've been reading, at least on it. And it is going to be released June 29th, so 4 days after this episode goes live.
Woohoo.
So be sure to check that out. I mean, I have like a lot of questions from the series, like
We all do.
so many. Like, okay, Mr. Saiwaki, like, what is his true intentions?
What's your deal?
What is your deal?
Why are you such a creep if you're a good guy?
I'm a nice guy, trademark.
Ooh.
Tips fedora.
Like, what actually happened with like Kyoto, her Ai's like old best friend, Koito, whatever.
It's like Kyoto.
Kyoto,
Yeah, city.
Koito.
What happened to the entire city of Kyoto? This episode is actually going to be a side story of new characters, new things going on in a different city.
Oh, yes. It's the pilot for season 2 where it's just a lot less depressing.
I mean, I would still probably watch a slice of life of Wonder Egg.
Oh, yeah.
I like the characters.
I like the depression. There we go.
Yeah. I mean, a side story that could be lighthearted comparatively could still be pretty depressing.
No, true. But then it would just be like regular level of sad emotional anime.
A normal anime sad.
Yeah, you know? If that even exists.
It does. It totally does.
But yeah, this bonus episode is at least supposed to be the final conclusion to the series. So if we do get any more like news about it or any more installments from it, it will probably be like a side story or just a spin-off.
Even announcement of a second season would be awesome.
Of course, sometimes, with these situations, it's optimistic to think you'll get, like, at least a remote bit of closure. I mean, I still remember when people saw the end of Evangelion, like, the series, not the actual movie, and just people were so upset that it was just a kid sitting in a dark room for 3 episodes.
See, ones that have popped up a lot was My Next Life as a Villainess.
Yes.
All routes lead to doom. X.
Yes. And the big difference on the second season compared to the first is that in the first she's self-aware of what's supposed to happen to the character she now is. And in this one it's a sequel she's never played.
Ooh.
So she has to
Oh.
navigate that by going, what do I do?
Gotta
What do I
figure it
do?
out for herself.
Yes.
So she gets isekai'd into a second game?
No,
No,
the
she's-
game continues.
Yeah, it's a continuation. It's like if you were playing an Otome game.
Oh, so she's past her save point.
Yeah.
Basically.
Interesting.
And it's the sequel that she now finds herself in.
Huh.
Ah.
But the world stays the same. It's just a storyline
Yeah.
we're familiar with.
Kind of reminds me of a Telltale game.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Where it's like, oh, we ended the game, but it sold really well. Let's make a sequel.
Yeah,
That's
and
pretty
all
much
your
what happens
decisions
there.
matter.
Yeah. So she's navigating that blind, and I mean, she's such an airhead from the first one that just seeing how this takes place is going to be great.
I was not expecting to like season 1 as much as I did.
Yes.
Because, I mean, here's the thing. I don't like isekais. I don't really like harems or reverse harems for the most part. But it works. And I guess I found my niche of... I found a subset of harem anime that I actually like, so buy harems. Where are they at? More of those.
Yes, I believe I did recommend the first couple episodes a few times to you. I'm like, you should try it. You should
I
give it a
think-
try.
I think you recommended it to
Uh-huh.
me, and a YouTuber that I watch was doing like weekly recaps, so he was like really interested in it. So like the combination of the two, I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, nothing.
And then another shot, and then another shot.
And then she fell down the rabbit hole with me.
Yep.
I love this idiot so much.
The best way to put it.
Speaking of rabbits, Beastars is also getting a second season.
I always thought you were going to say speaking of idiots, and I was very curious where we were going to go.
Great segue. Great segue.
I applaud that, but I also boo it.
It's leaving Netflix jail.
Yay, finally. And I'm pretty sure we get to find out who the murderer is, which I'm super excited to see be revealed.
Wait, murderer. I'm
At
trying.
in the very first episode, when the girl got
There's a
eaten.
predator out on the loose,
Gets got.
aka a
Yeah.
murderer.
Oh.
Yeah.
Light bulb moment for Devlin, right there. I saw it.
Yep. I think I completely blanked on that.
You mean the entire hook of the show?
Mine was like the opening. That was my hook, okay? Like the opening is just so fantastic. So like, yeah. I did see that there's like a snake police officer too.
Oh, I'm super excited. I was reading the manga a little bit, and I saw that like in the background there were snake characters flipping around. I was like, oh man, when are they going to show up as like a main character? And it's like, ooh, it's coming.
How far did you get in the manga?
I think I'm like a few volumes in. It's probably still reading season 1 content at this point.
Okay.
Just because once I get that done, I got a whole lot of other backlog of different series to read. So now I'll get to catch up on season 2 and find out.
I'm curious, how is the snake officer gonna like move around? Is he gonna be on the ground, or is he gonna be like? Yeah, is he gonna hop?
Just pogos, like
Yeah.
the monster from Qbert.
Yeah.
See
Like,
that?
make himself a coil and boing,
Yep.
boing, boing.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. But that was like one catch that I saw, like at least in the trailer and all that. And Studio Orange is supposed to be like continuing the animation for season 2, so that's really great news because they did a fantastic job in season 1. So.
Especially with the opening.
Yes, especially in the opening. Oh my gosh.
Devlin actually hasn't seen season 1. He accidentally watched the opening, but it was on loop, and he just kept rolling with it. So he's watched it for how many hours at this point? 20-minute episodes times what? I'm guessing this is a 24-episode season?
No, it was
13
like
or
13?
12.
Okay, I didn't know if it was
13,
like a
12
1 core or
episodes.
2 core kind of thing, but...
Yeah, I've been watching it on loop. Okay. It's great.
So one on this list that I am super excited about, but still kind of wary about, is the case study of Vanitas. For anyone who has listened to this podcast forever, I keep pointing at the manga saying this is great, you should read it. So the fact that it's getting an anime made me super excited, but also wary because I have high expectations for this show and they may not be met. I don't know. We'll see. The trailers all look really pretty, but it's also got like
The visuals.
the visuals are very like Count of Monte Cristo,
Oh,
the
okay.
anime.
Oh, interesting.
So in the manga, they remind me of that show's visuals, so I'm hoping that they show up. Not to the extent that the Pretty Boy Detective Club is, because please stop. You're pretty, but okay.
It was a bit of sensory overload. when I
Yeah,
watched
it's a
that.
little sensory overload. And I mean, the Count of Monte Cristo kind of does that same thing. And I don't think that Vanitas is going to be as much, but the manga has such pretty artwork that I hope that they can translate that into the actual animation. And I'm looking forward to the story. It's unique, and I want to find out more about these characters, but I think I've probably read farther than the anime is going to get, so yeah.
What is the story? Because I feel like you have mentioned it. I've
Uh-huh.
at least seen Vanitas, at least like
So-
on our guide, but like I don't know anything about it, and it's gone in one year and not the other.
I will try to recap from a manga that I have not picked up for several years because I have a tendency to read about what's available and then put it down and wait for it to build some more. So I have 8 volumes at home and I think I've read maybe 4 of them.
Okay.
So the main focus is on 2 characters, one of which is technically a vampire, but the world is built differently. So vampires in this world aren't your classic, oh, I crave someone's blood. And that's all I remember about that. Sorry for dropping the ball on that. And then you have Vanitas, who is out to find information. Also, I can't remember. But this is what makes the anime great, because I'm getting to re-experience the story because I've forgotten so much. So I'm pointing that out. But Vanitas himself is really an oddball character who has a ton of depth that is revealed later. And his personality, once people learn more about his background, starts to change because they've learned stuff that he doesn't want them to know. So it gets very heated sometimes between the 2 main characters. And they kind of have a love-hate relationship with each other. Like, they get along, but yet they don't.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the steampunk style world that's there as well. It's got a lot of pretty visuals. And for anyone who is keeping track, this is also written by the same author that did Pandora Hearts. So it's got a lot of that kind of vibe going on. So yeah, Case Study of Vanitas is getting an anime. I'm looking forward to it, but also very cautious because my expectations, they're very high.
When in doubt, read the manga first. Or like, if you don't like the anime, I guess.
Cough, cough, Promise Neverland. I'm so salty.
I think a lot of people are. You're not alone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, it's disappointing that it never actually got a second season. Like, it's just one
Yeah,
season wonder.
you'll
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I felt like the story had a nice little ending at the end of season 1.
Yeah.
I was pretty good with that.
Chris, do you have any that you are looking forward to?
Yeah, one of the ones that looks interesting to me is an upcoming series called Sunny Boy. This one's from Shingo Natsume, who's the director of One Punch Man and Space Dandy, among other stuff. And it's being animated by Studio Madhouse. And this one I think is going to be really cool. I'm interested to see where it goes. It revolves around a group of 36 kids who are enjoying their summer vacation from school, only to be taken into another world where they're stuck in an abandoned school, and they all start manifesting superpowers and being forced to survive on their own. The concept seems interesting. I'm a little worried because I'm not super crazy if it's like a more of a Hunger Games sort of style thing where they have to start killing each other, but I think it's going to be more fending off against whatever weird things pop up in the world. But we don't know a lot about it. The pictures seem like pretty normal looking as far as like the previews go. There is one girl that has a lot of cats.
I wonder what her power is.
Yeah, but it looks really interesting. Like, I think a lot of it is just like there's so much mystery about what this show is going to be.
Well, as someone who's watched the first episode, I could tell you that there is some nice little mystery hooks.
Whoa, hot
yeah.
twist.
But it is how Chris describes. But I think what's really interesting is that it really does take a more like thriller aspect to the show, trying to go back to like more of like Madhouse's Satoshi Kon era.
Oh, nice.
Era roots, because the guy who did the character designs for the show also did the designs for Perfect Blue as
Yeah.
well. So they definitely want to harken back to that. As well as in the filmmaking is also very Satoshi Kon / like thriller-esque. Doesn't really hold your hand for much of anything about introducing concepts, but luckily the concept is simple enough that it's easy to get into. And what's really cool is that there's like the way they visualize some of the powers are really interesting. Like there's this guy where I think he has the ability to like create like sonic high-pitched sounds, and the way they show that is that the frame literally starts like breaking, shattering itself apart,
Nice.
separating itself.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Yeah, so they have like interesting powers that they have available, but not everybody has powers. So you have this cool little like power struggle within the first episode. That was really interesting. And then it looks like it'll also go into like the themes of like individuality versus the group, because if you look at the character designs, there's this girl that has like brown hair and is like in a bright blue dress or shirt, and she's more like the free willing spirit, just do what you gotta do, while the main character, you know, the boy with the long hair, who's probably the sunny boy of the title, he's like more laid back and like doesn't really have motivation to do much. And I think as the show goes along, it'll talk about a lot about the struggle of being an individual versus being part of the group, and when is it good, when is it bad. So it looks like it'll be a nice little battle between like individuality versus the collective, which is really interesting, especially like coming from something from Japan where something like wa or balance is really important.
Yeah.
And like the way the episode ends, I'm not going to spoil it, but the way it ends, it almost feels like I ended up watching like an entire short film. It had such a
Nice.
such a wonderfully structured beginning, middle, and end. But there's still enough plot hooks and like mysteries that are introduced in the show where you really do want to watch the second episode, especially where it ends. You're like, because where it ends is you have no idea where they are or what they're going to do or how the show is supposed to move forward from here. So definitely want to check out episode 2 whenever that arrives. in late July, if I have my dates right.
Oh my.
Yeah, like Funimation got to preview that episode early along with another show last weekend as part of their big little summer announcing. They also dropped the ridiculous $250 Robocheck box that I'm really tempted by.
Oh.
But
Chris
is
excited.
that still online, or is that going to be up for just a minute?
It was only available for 24 hours after.
Oh my.
Man,
Yeah.
you jumped on that.
Yeah, but in late July you'll be able to watch the first episode again.
It's a good thing we got all these other shows we're talking about to hold us off until then.
Yeah.
I'm so sad because now I'm actually like hooked.
Yeah.
At first, I was getting like Digimon like vibes where they were just
Another world.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't call it Digimon vibes.
And then I was getting like My Hero vibes, but now I'm like, oh, I'm excited. I'm adding that to my list.
I feel like in a seasons full of fantasy isekai and shonen battle action stuff, I feel like this is a nice change of pace. I'm kind of like, how was it with all of the different characters because when Chris said like 30 something kids are transported here,
36.
like that seems like an overwhelming cast to keep track of. So I don't know.
I mean, the show really only focuses on like about 5 in particular. The 3 council people at the student council, plus the main girl and the main boy that I was talking about earlier.
It might be pure speculation too on my part, but they might take the main core cast and have them kind of visit with the rest of the 36.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you're telling us that the first episode has a good middle and beginning and end.
Yeah, it
together.
does.
This is like sort of a weird thing compared to,
Yeah.
but it reminds me of, I used to read the manga Negima back in the day, where it's about like a wizard boy who taught an all-girls class, and like you'd see at the beginning of each volume like the whole class roster, and as they went through the stories, he'd do like stories with each and every one of them. So
Yeah,
I'm sure they'll each get their own spot in the.
I would compare it more to like maybe like Drifting Classroom if you ever read that old manga,
So much more.
but less Lord of the Flies. Is there a My Hero character named Daunt or Dauntless or Daunting?
There's Deku.
Yeah. No, not Dauntless. Like,
Well, speaking of My Hero Academia,
That was a ham-handed transition if I've ever heard one.
There's probably some character with that as an ability. Make hams out of his hands.
man.
Probably.
I mean, they did have a meatball character. Like, he would like massage his like hands behind his like back, and it would like summon like fingers literally, and he could like kind of like mold the characters into like meatball, like weird like Cronenbergs, you know, or
Oh, God.
yeah. It was really weird. It was during the provisional license arc.
They have over 100 episodes. I remember nothing.
His power is like he can make the flying spaghetti monster?
In a way, but not really. Like,
He has to actually.
My quirk is called sous chef, but with people.
Oh no, we've gone cannibalistic.
I mean, they also had like a telescope quirk during the same arc, and she could literally just fold her body into herself. Like it's really weird. Anyways,
Anyways, the
That's what
current
it's called,
upcoming.
Sous chef, but it's spelled S-U-E. Like the name.
Nice, I love it.
But yeah, My Hero.
anyways,
There's a lot of it.
My Hero season 5
Season
continues.
5. Yes, it does. And we get to learn about new powers.
And new arcs. I'm pretty sure
Yes.
what they're doing is they might be. I don't know how far you are in the manga, or if
I have not read
the.
the manga. If you go past the Christmas episode, I will hurt you.
Okay, well, stuff happens in the manga.
I hope
And
so.
I believe that they kind of skip a little arc in there to continue on with where the Christmas episode left off.
I've heard that they're either skipping it or they're just rearranging what's happening.
They're definitely rearranging it, just so that it makes a lot more sense.
It could be also they saw what Demon Slayer did, and they're like, maybe we should just take an actual arc of the book and make it into the next movie.
Well, that's kind of what they're doing is where they're at, like at least where they leave off at the Christmas episode. Deku, Bakugo, and
go on.
Todoroki decide to work under Endeavor for their work study and all that. So they are kind of continuing that storyline, and in the manga they just completely put like a whole nother arc in between that. So
And there is a new My Hero movie announced,
Yes.
right? So yeah, that's probably then.
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where they're like trying to lead up to it and all that. But wow, it's crazy. I've been reading manga because I've been needing more substance from it. So
Yeah.
if you haven't already started watching season 5 of My Hero or My Hero at all,
Yeah.
where have you been? And you need to start immediately.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I know enough about this show to know it's not for me.
Oh.
I have talked about it a lot, and I will still persuade you. It's like a fruits basket, like My Hero. Like, we will swap series. If you watch My Heroes, I'll watch Fruits Basket.
Oh, don't do
there's
this
your
to me. That's not a fair trade. Fruits Basket has 3 seasons. My Hero's gonna go on forever.
I thought you
I
were.
mean, you can count the old episodes too,
Yeah.
even it out a little bit.
Technically different.
Yeah, that's true.
Plus, if you're hooked, you won't care.
Yeah,
Maybe.
this is true.
A hard maybe.
You're making a deal with the devil, Lynn, here.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Devlin. This is evil Devlin. We decided
Yep.
that because he doesn't.
Yep.
Good
My
Devlin's
hair
off
part
reading
Tanya
Tanya
the
the Evil.
No, Mr. Rogers here. Speaking of Mr. Rogers,
You need to stop, Will. You need to just knock it
Boom! Yay! Good transition.
off. Don't encourage it.
another anime we were excited for is Life Lessons with Uroichi Onisan.
Yep.
Yeah, this one looks like it's going to be ridiculous. It's it's sort of the twisted stories of a guy who hosts a children's show and isn't really as sunny and shiny as the show he hosts is, and so it gets a little bit dark from what we've seen so far.
I busted a gut laughing watching this trailer, and honestly, I'm pretty sold on it.
I haven't seen much of the trailers. Well, I've seen a bit of the trailers, but I think I end up watching them too soon before they get like subtitled. So I end up seeing like I don't understand any of the words on here, but the pictures look nice.
Right?
Yeah.
But overall, with the premise, I'm a big fan of the musical Avenue Q, which is
Yes.
like grown-up Sesame Street basically, and it's very raunchy and very inappropriate, and it gives me similar vibes where it's like, "Hey kids, life sucks."
It sucks to be.
It sucks to be you.
And yeah, it sort of reminds me of stuff they do with that sort of subversive things like that, like Wonder Chosen or like Death the Smoochie. Just like, oh, we present it as a kid's show, but things are going to get a little bit more messed up.
Honestly, I love the dark sense of humor in it. Like, I'm very excited for it, even though it wasn't on my list. Like, it made a spot on my list.
This has been on my list for a while. I think it
Yeah.
got delayed a season, so I was really disappointed.
Yeah, I remember when the anime was getting announced, and I wasn't sold on it. It just seems like, oh, it looks like a slice of life meta.
Nah, you had to read that description, man.
Yeah, reading is something I need to do.
He has a limit of 200 word count or words a day that you can read. We're pushing it with our script.
Yes.
Or outline.
All right, I'm just going to start talking about something else before Will comes up with a bad transition.
Speaking of reading,
No. Speaking of reading, we're talking about giant robots. You happy?
oh yeah.
Subtitles.
You happy, Will?
Speaking of stuff I'm also super excited
So,
for with Chris.
Yep, we've got Gundam Hathaway dropping next week on Netflix.
What?
It didn't really get much of a Netflix jail. It's the latest Gundam movie. Recently came out in Japan. It is the first Gundam movie in, I think, 33 years, they said, to hit 1 billion yen in ticket sales.
Yeah.
So it is doing incredibly well over there. It is a series that takes place in the Universal Century, later in the continuity, so after, I believe, Gundam Unicorn. But it spins more directly out of Char's counterattack, because it involves Hathaway Noah, the natural son of Bright Noah, the captain of the White Base from the original Gundam, who had a little bit of his own storyline in Char's counterattack, and it revolves around him having to pilot a mobile suit to face the threat of the newest would-be next iteration of Char. And so there's a lot of drama. I'm excited for it because I think it's going to be a little bit less metaphysical and weird with the science as Unicorn was. I think it's going to be a little more just serious, hard-hitting, like, war drama. So I'm really excited for that. It looks gorgeous. The mecha look awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting it dropped in our lap in 4 days or so.
Oh, man. I'm super excited for it. I'm also a big UC fan.
Mm-hmm.
And to see something like, hey, remember Char's counterattack? That Wright's kid? Well, he's the main character now. I just love seeing continuity like that.
Yeah.
And if they are going, like, right after Unicorn, like, there's, like, a whole bunch of drama between like, this people in space and people from Earth. That's, like, it has to be, like, basically drilled, because there's a lot to unpack with the reveals of Unicorn.
Lots of tension going on, and it's got a lot of that, the visual detail that we saw in Gundam NT that came out a couple of years back.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this one's going to be really pretty and a lot of, well, I don't know if I would say fun for the story, but fun for us Gundam fans at the very least.
I don't know how to transition to this, but one series that I am also excited for is The Detective is Already Dead.
Yeah, that was also one of the trailers that are like, I don't know what the subtitles are, but it sure does look pretty.
The trailer really caught my eye with all the glitch effects and all that, and I was reading a little bit more. First off, like, applauding the people who made the trailer because they did a fantastic job, and I am so jealous. The characters seem really interesting. Like, the white-haired girl, like, I think her name is Siesta. Like, she is the one who wields, like, the huge, like, rifle,
the rifle.
right?
Like, she's like Shika from Coffin Princess, where she's got, like, this giant gun.
Yeah, she seems pretty, like, strong and, you know, just, like, independent.
Yeah.
Armed and dangerous.
Yes, armed and dangerous.
I mean, she knows how to wield it inside an airplane, so...
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's
Yeah.
in an airplane.
Yeah, like, I guess the first episode was set in an airplane, because, like, the guy wakes up, and then there's the girl with the white hair right next to him.
Yeah.
And then there's, like, this black, glitchy blob in the trailer, right?
Yeah.
And then like, the white girl just kind of, like, does a cartwheel and pulls out her rifle.
Yep, and just fires it.
Shoots
Yeah.
it.
I'm very confused.
So, based on the manga description, it sounds like that they were in a plane hijacking, and one of them has gotten talked into becoming the assistant of this great detective, and they were separated by death. So one of them is apparently
Already dead?
checking out their
Yep.
own death. Like, they're trying to find out who killed them, apparently.
Oh.
I was very confused because
Yeah,
I thought it was like doppelganger effect where, like, she was like, or maybe reincarnated.
Yeah,
since it's anime.
it kind of reminds me of Inspector to some degree, just because of the supernatural element of it, with the mystery involved.
Either way, I don't know what's going on, but I want to know.
Is there any other oddballs over there? Anybody wanted to hit on? Quinn, you're raising your hand.
I am.
Doesn't really
I
work
am.
in an audio format.
I
Go
know, but it gets everybody else's attention. So I have to pump for the time that I got reincarnated as a slime, season 2, part 2, because they left on a cliffhanger, and I want to know how the heck Valdora comes back and integrates into the village, because he's this big old dragon that's been missing since the first few seasons, and he's back.
Yeah, what?
He's back.
Okay, I've only seen season 1, so what? Okay.
Oh, spoilers.
Well, the way they have it set up, I don't feel like that is a spoiler. It
Okay.
should have been expected. So, yeah, things have happened, and Rinru has evolved quite a bit. So that, like, relationship that they had with him as this puny little slime and Valdora the Great Dragon, I'm like, how is this going to happen now? So there is a lot of stuff to unpack, and I want to see what happens. The middle of the season when they just quit, I'm like, no, where's the next episode? Why am I sitting here? No. So yeah, that time I got reincarnated as a slime, part 2.
Yeah, I need to watch part 1 of season 2.
Yeah! You know what?
I think I forgot about it, and then I started watching Banana Fish, so thanks, Olivia.
You're welcome.
Quit distracting Devil.
No. He needs to suffer with me.
I have a very small attention span, and yes, I get distracted very easily.
Okay, so it's not a simulcast season if I don't talk about sports anime, and we got another niche one coming in. It's called Remain, and at first I wasn't super interested in it because it was a water polo anime, and I can't swim.
You can swim?
No, I can't. I can only drown.
Oh, awesome.
Can you say that like you've experienced it once? I'm concerned.
It's
now.
her adamantium skeleton. She's a Wolverine, by the way.
Blew my cover, man. But once I saw another trailer for it and a little more in-depth description of what it's going to be, I'm slightly more interested in it because our main character, I think he was playing water polo in middle school, school sports anime kind of thing. But something happens mid-game and he ends up getting in a super bad concussion and he's in a coma for about 6 months. Wakes up, doesn't remember anything, and he's trying to find who he is again. And I feel like it's kind of, I'm hoping for more of a interpersonal drama kind of thing, figuring out who you are with sports woven in. But we'll find out.
I wonder if he'll regain his memory from the muscle memory of playing the sport.
That's what I'm thinking too. But I'm interested to see where this goes because this is a route I've never seen in a sports anime before.
Now I'm just really worried because being a fan of football and pro wrestling and things like that, I'm familiar with the effects of CTE and if he gets back in the pool and it happens again, you could just be toast.
We'll find out.
I guess maybe that'll come up.
I mean,
it's
it's a 12-episode series, so hopefully it's not too, he doesn't get knocked out too much. Another one that's super short, super sweet, is a Netflix movie. I think it has a different name. It's called Words Bubble Up Like Soda Pop.
Oh yeah,
Which is a strange name, considering I don't think it has anything to do with the story, but we'll find out. It looks like a really cutesy boy meets girl love story kind of thing, but they each have different kind of social anxieties in a way that kind of they try to push themselves into the background. The guy always wears headphones so he doesn't have to interact with people. He's really self-conscious about his voice and what he says. The girl always wears a face mask because she has really big, bulky braces and doesn't want anybody to notice her. So it's kind of a cutesy little rom-com about two people who want to be as far away from everyone else as possible, finding each other, and it looks cute. It also looks fantastic visually. The trailer for it makes, the colors are so bright and vivid and it's super cute. It is a perfect summer movie, at least aesthetically. So I'm excited to see how that turns out. And I think the day it comes out on Netflix is the day it debuts in theaters in Japan, so that's kind of cool.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. So no waiting.
I kind of love that we live in this situation now where we can get this almost instant gratification, because it used to be if a movie came out in Japan, you'd have to wait 6 months for it to get dubbed and then put out on Blu-ray or DVD. Mm-hmm. And now it's just oh, we got the subtitle track ready. Let's just throw it on the internet.
Yep.
No, we're not going to charge them for it. They already pay for our stuff anyway.
What a beautiful timeline we live in.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Back in my day, we had to wait 2 years to wait on anything in DVD.
Back in my day, we used to collect series in 2-episode VHS cassettes.
God.
And they came out every 3 months.
And we paid $26.78 for everything.
Yeah.
Just 2 episodes.
But at least I got a bunch of free Gundam Wing figures out of it.
I was worried if you were going to keep talking like that, you were going to retract into becoming an old woman and your dentures would fall out somehow. But
What are the pictures in this?
Well, what I'm getting
Lucky.
is you progressively age more and more as you talk in this voice of the back in your day kind of thing.
Now listen here, girlie.
Oh, Quinn passed away. That's
Oh no!
That's it. I'm done. You're killing me off. Jeez.
Hopefully you get reincarnated as a slime.
Don't have to come back. and
Headbutt
just
on
hear.
the desk.
Wait, let me access my skill set here.
Well, you had a few other things on your list. Any of them
yeah.
spark your interest?
I mean, obviously, as a Godzilla fan, Netflix is putting Godzilla Singular Point up really, really soon. So I'm super excited for that. Seeing Studio Orange animate the fights, and then having
Okay, Will's dead too.
the other 2D.
By the end of this, it's just going to be me and Declan sitting in a closet.
The other
good episodes of Dragon Ball Z or something.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Godzilla Singular Point. It'll have some good fights from the 3D animation and some good character animation for the 2D parts.
It's bones. Thanks, Internet.
So I'm excited to see how that goes. Oh, and Jet Jaguar. Jet Jaguar.
Oh god.
He shows up as a science fair project. So that'll be fun.
Now you got me thinking one of my favorite Mystery Science Theater 3000 episodes, Godzilla vs. Megalon, when Jet Jaguar debuts.
Heck yeah. That's when he does the dive kick, right?
Yep. Just riding that tail.
I am so lost. There were words like there, and I did not hear any.
You just gotta watch some Godzilla.
I'm gonna Google the GIF now for that when he's off.
But yeah, he just does this drop kick, but it's like super far away, so it takes a long time to get there. And like it looks like the tail is on the ground, so it looks like he's being supported by his tail as he slides.
He's watching it now. It's beautiful. It is the best.
It's so stupid.
Yep. It is literally just the suit being suspended by wires and dragged across a soundstage. It is the best.
Yep.
That is why this movie is beautiful.
Yeah, I'm excited to see this more sci-fi take on Godzilla. And seeing all the new monsters. They debuted a couple in the trailer, so I'm excited to see how they do battle against the King of the Monsters. Well, there's no good segue I can come up with.
Thank God.
So let's just go towards the ending here, and Quinn with our sales updates.
Yes, so as many of you may have realized, we have a pre-birthday sale currently running. And that means that the actual birthday sale is coming up. It is starting on Sunday. So the birthday sale is here. It's week 1 of 5.
5.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. I almost forgot 5.
I thought you were going to be like week 1 and 2 and 3 and 5.
That's what I thought too. In his defense, he wasn't looking at his hands.
I forgot to count.
Yes, and so if any of you are unfamiliar with the birthday sale, how this works is that each week we will have new items added to the sale. So you will find week 1 items that are brand new, and then week 2 we will add on top of those week 1 items. So you'll have more items to choose from. So if you miss out on that first week, they're still there, but at a slightly increased price because you got to jump on those deals. Some extra things that you need to know about this year's birthday sale because it is slightly different, mostly due to the fact that the supply chain is a wreck and printing presses are running 24/7 really, really fast, and they just can't keep up with supply and demand. So this year we are not going to have bundles. It is major sadness, and we apologize for the fact we're making you click more buttons than normal. You can still get your favorite manga, any other things that might have been bundled together, but you're going to have to do the legwork and get each individual item. And there are also going to be some series out there that are missing a couple volumes because we just cannot get them in, and we don't want to make you wait for months on end to get the reprints in. A lot of that applies to the manga. We have some supply chain issues, so we have tried to make sure that things are available and here so we can get them to you. So keep that in mind. If you see something that is out of stock, but you want everything in your order here and now, order things that are in stock separately from things that are out of stock, because it may take us a while to fulfill it. We will get them fulfilled. Don't worry about that, but it may take some time.
But also, if it's out of stock, we will get it back.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not just something we don't know it's going to come back. We're going to get it. So, like, your best way to guarantee these savings is to get your order in for these items to lock in that price, because it only lasts as long as the sale goes. So, get your orders in.
Yep.
Your wallet will thank you.
No, it won't. It will cry.
Well, yeah, but it cries less than if it would have done it the hard way.
Mine cries more. It's like, why are you buying so many things?
Well, you have a problem.
I do not have a problem. I don't know where are you talking about?
I mean, I've been looking at some of the mega deals that we have planned.
Oh yes, the mega deals.
Yeah.
Oh man, those
Special
are
big deals each day.
each day.
Those are just around for that one singular day, so keep an eye out on those every single day of the sale.
Oh, also keep in mind, contests, you will have to sign up
yeah.
each
Yes.
and every week. You have to come back each week just because we want to make sure that you are liking what you are participating in.
Yep, we want you to come visit the website. So if you sign up, you could win yourself some sweet manga, anime, collectibles of all
Yeah.
different sorts.
And these are massive prize packages too. It's not just a couple DVDs, a couple manga. It's a big bundled mess of awesomeness that you want. So make sure to check out what each week's contest is and sign up.
I make these. Don't let my hard work go in vain.
Go to vein.
No.
Go into her veins.
Ooh.
Oh no, I don't want to inject.
Inject.
And a very special episode of Cells at Work.
Just getting a literal.
It's pureed paper.
Cells at work code black.
Yeah.
It's from the ink.
Yes.
Hey,
But
Oh my.
there we go.
Who won the Massacre dub?
Marcos.
Nice.
Marcos won.
But what did he win?
He won a $25 gift card
Right.
Nice.
to Right Stuff Anime.
he figured out what we massacred. Woohoo!
And what was it?
Something from JoJo's.
It was the
JoJo.
Jotaro Dio fight from Stardust Crusaders. They're like, oh, you're approaching me.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah.
Is your answer. Beautiful.
Kudos to Marco.
I was kind of bummed you weren't at this the last podcast because we did JoJo's.
I know, I really wanted to be in on that.
Yeah, it's like not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but we were talking about like unpopular opinions, and I wanted to talk about Stardust Crusaders with you, but no one else had seen it.
Oh.
It's okay though.
Well, before we head out, why don't we give them how they can contact us, and maybe give them a fair warning that we probably won't be having any more episodes because of birthday sale.
Not
Well-
permanently, just for a few weeks.
Yeah, while we are all in the warehouse making sure orders are getting out because we get kidnapped. And
Yep.
we get sent out to help with the warehouse, which we are more than happy to
Yeah,
do.
this
but
is when
oh
we
my
start
goodness.
jumping in and we start receiving product and picking your orders and packing them to get them your way. So things get a little bit tricky with our schedules here during the birthday sale. So it might be a little while before you hear us again, but it won't be that long. So please keep us in your podcast feeds because we'll be back soon. We'll miss you. I love you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Talk to you next time.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Right Stuff Anime. We'd love to hear from you. Send us your questions or comments to rspodcast@rightstuff.com and we might just answer them in a future episode. That's rspodcast@rightstuff.com.